Hiya. Let's get right into it today. I've got my warp shirt on today because duh, why wouldn't I? When I'm talking about the mighty Mount Rushmore level talent of Mark Pritchard. And oh yeah, there's another guy that's involved called Thom Yorke. This is for their new album Tall Tales. And I have more to show than just this. This is the shrink wrap and the hype sticker. They're back. Both of them are back. To release, I'm going to get right into it today. To release this, I ordered the deluxe edition, and this is it. Tall Tales, Mark Pritchard and Thom Yorke. And I'm happy to report that this is really good. Really good. I had some concerns, but those concerns have been lifted, and I can now rest easy in the knowledge that this is a really excellent album. Maybe the best album I've heard so far this year. And that's what you would expect from talent like this. You would hope that this would be the best album you've heard all year. I'm very, very happy with this record. It's awesome. And the packaging's cool. You get a couple of heavyweights working together, and they work together very well, very fluidly. Top to bottom, an excellent album. There's really not a bad track on here. You get 12 total tracks, and they're all good. They all flow into each other very nicely. Well produced, well sequenced, well written, well sung, well delivered. I'm really enjoying this record. I've listened to this a number of times. I got this in the mail a couple of days ago on Friday. It's now Tuesday, so I've had all weekend to let this sink in, and God, this is good. No disappointment on this end at all. And let me dive in. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Like I mentioned, you have two heavyweights here. Those of you who, I have a feeling like a lot of people are going to stumble upon this video not having seen my other videos. Those of you who have watched my other videos, you'll know that I'm a huge Mark Pritchard fan. And actually, I'll start with this, I guess. And this is heavy. I'm going to get tired of holding this because this is like a formidable box. And I don't even have the records in here right now. I took them out so I could show them to you. But this is like a, it's like a brick in your hand. Very well made. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I try to not do this. I read a couple of reviews of this here and there. I'm just kind of interested to see which way the wind is blowing in terms of how the critics feel about this. And I try to avoid doing that. But I did it anyway, and as I suspected, most of the vibe I was getting as I was looking at the reviews of this were, most of the reviewers are like, the new Thom Yorke album with Buddy and sidekick Mark Pritchard. That was kind of the attitude I was getting. Like, this is a Thom Yorke album, and by the way, there's this other electronic guy, Mark Pritchard. Let me just correct this for you. More clueless people. Mark Pritchard's a legend. Okay? In my opinion, Thom Yorke wishes he had a sliver of the talent that Mark Pritchard has. Mark Pritchard is a beast. He is a god in the electronic world. Why do you think Thom Yorke decided to work with somebody like Mark Pritchard? Because Mark Pritchard is a beast. The dude has released so much brilliant music, your head will spin. Whether it's as Mark Pritchard or Global Communication or Reload or Africa High Tech or Secret Ingredients, I could go on. Jedi Knights, did I say Jedi Knights? Link. Pritchard is a beast. So those of you who want to think, oh yeah, this is Thom Yorke and Buddy Mark Pritchard, shut up and walk away. Don't watch my video. And if you do decide to keep watching my video, thank you, because you're going to learn something today. This is not a Thom Yorke album. with sidekick Mark Pritchard. This is a Mark Pritchard and Thom Yorke album. Pritchard is a monster, and that's why Yorke works with him. They're both legends, but Mark Pritchard is a living legend in the electronic world. So make no mistake about that. This is not a Thom Yorke album. Anyway, I had to get that out. I read a couple of reviews, like the Rolling Stone review particularly. I don't know why I read it, I don't know. I guess I like to torture myself, and I didn't even read the whole thing. They gave it a lukewarm review. I'm sure they're off writing, perfect 5-star, 10 out of 10 reviews for all of the shittiest clap, crunk, fucking trap music you've ever heard in your life. Any trap release that comes out, they think it's like the fucking best thing that's ever been released. That's the level that Rolling Stone is on. If you've got some boring, tired old yawn rock or some trap music, you get a perfect score. But then something like this comes out and it's like, it's okay. Now, this is actually pretty fucking excellent. And Rolling Stone, this is what I think of your criticism. You're clueless. So, anyway, this is a Pritchard and Yorke album. I'm going to clear that up. Rolling Stone. Who even reads Rolling Stone anyway? If you do, you're clueless to begin with, and we all know that. But I couldn't help it. I had to read it. And then I made myself angry afterwards. But anyway, this is a beautiful album, man. I've probably listened to this 5 times already. And I'll get into the physical release here in a minute. As you can see, it's like a book. The records come stuffed in here. You get a big art book. I also ordered some other stuff with this, and I'll talk about that as well, of course. But this, without trying to go into those of you who watch my channel, I have a distaste for trying to pigeonhole music, trying to affix a tag to it. This is this genre, and that is that genre, and I try to not do that. This album just sounds like some great electronic soul music to me, and what I really like about what Pritchard and Yorke do here is that Yorke, unlike with Radiohead music, where Yorke is the centerpiece, really, I mean, I like Radiohead. I do. I don't like everything they've done, but I like Radiohead. I really do. Yorke is the centerpiece of that band, though. Not so much here. Yorke's vocals are kind of they're an instrument. And you have to think that that's a conscious decision that they both made. Yorke isn't the centerpiece here. The centerpiece is a vibe. It's a mood. And his vocals complement, just like all the other instruments, complement the overall mood of this album. Excuse me. It's his voice is used as an instrument. Not really background. It's everything kind of swirls together and creates a palette of a really cool sound. But unlike a lot of Thom Yorke, well, a lot, he only has a couple solo albums, but I like Thom Yorke's solo albums pretty well, but for me personally, his solo albums kind of miss something. Like there's a depth to them that I've never really felt, but that's where Pritchard comes in. Tons of depth here. Tons of depth. To my ears, and this is probably because I'm biased because I love Mark Pritchard, but this sounds like a Mark Pritchard album with Thom Yorke singing on it. Now again, Thom Yorke's vocals are part of the whole tapestry, if you will. And that's what's cool about this. Everything kind of works in tandem together. Yorke isn't focused on. He's part of the whole overall tapestry. And that's what makes this album so cool. It's really good. Really good stuff. Who created what? It doesn't matter. You definitely get the feeling like they're both actively getting involved, but I can't help but feel like this is really a Pritchard album. And from what I understand, they started working on this during the pandemic, obviously. The last 5 years, pretty much, it's all pandemic stuff. I think they started working on this during the pandemic. Like when I say that, I mean like 2020. At least like the seedlings of the creativity begun there. I could be wrong, but I think I read that somewhere. In fact, I think I read that this is available on Apple Music, of course, and you get some commentary, some written commentary from Mark Pritchard. I recommend picking up the digital version on Apple Music because you get the lyrics and you get a little bit of commentary, and I have both. Why wouldn't I download this? Because I have Apple Music, but this is obviously a very nice companion piece. The album is called Tall Tales, of course, too, and I can't help but be reminded of a certain other album from Mark Pritchard that came out way back in 1993 called Collection of Short Stories. You Mark Pritchard fans will know what I'm talking about. Pritchard calmly released one of the greatest techno albums of all time back in 1993 called Collection of Short Stories as Reload. Early global communication Reload stuff. It's a gorgeous album, and I do mean it when I say it's one of the greatest techno albums of all time. It is. It's an incredible piece of work. That album is called Collection of Short Stories, and it came with basically like a CD booklet of stories. And it was cool. I remember when I got the record, it came with these stories, and I would read these stories as I was listening to the album. And it really enhanced the experience. It really does. Really beautiful stories are included, and then you're hearing this beautiful music, and it all works in tandem together. That was called Collection of Short Stories. This is called Tall Tales. I can't help but feel like Pritchard's kind of coming full circle a little bit there. You don't get stories with Tall Tales, but you do get this. And I'll get into this. By the way, this cover, it's like these letters are embossed in like a hardcover. This is like a hardcover book. And then you get the photo inlaid in here. This is all embossed. This is all embossed. I keep whacking myself in the head with this thing because it's so fucking big. Really nice presentation just on the cover. Then you open it up and you get this. The record number one slides in here. You can't. I already pulled the records out so I can show them, but some nice artwork here. You also get that on the other end of the book. Record number 2 goes in here. And in the middle, you get, again, it's hard to hold this and show it. It's a very big book, but you get like a book of art. No stories, not like Collection of Short Stories, but I'm not going to show you all of it because I want there to be some mystery. You can go buy this yourselves if you really want to experience this. I'm not going to show it all. You get some lyrics and some photos. I think this book's like 32 pages, maybe more. I don't know. More art. So you get a big book of full color photos with some lyrics. You get some credits. I'm not going to show any. Well, I'll show one more. Here's some more art for you. Pick this up. I think it's worth it. I did pay I think it was $55. So it wasn't cheap, but you get what you get. I think is worth it. Thankfully, the album itself and the music itself is excellent. But you also get this big book with the art. It's a very nice piece overall, and I'll show the records quickly. I was happy to see that they put these in poly-lined inner sleeves. This is record 1. It is a double record set. They put them in poly-lined sleeves. Thank you, Warp, Bleep, Pritchard, Yorke, for doing this. I appreciate that. There's record 1. Record 2. Labels. A lot of times when you get when you get these special editions, really the only special thing you get is a gatefold sleeve and some wacky colored wax. Pink vinyl, red vinyl, splatter vinyl. Well, I don't give a fuck vinyl. I want to listen to these things. And if you want to listen to records that are well pressed and are going to sound good coming off your turntable, this is kind of the only color they should be. Right here, black or clear. But I will move right past the wacky colored vinyl and get black every single time because I actually want to listen to these things. And this is a good pressing. The polyline inners definitely help. You know, when you slap a new record into those paper inners, they immediately stain the records and you have problems right out of the gate. So they did it right. This is a really nice pressing. And this is a nice box for a beautiful album. I'm trying to think. I always try to think of my favorite songs. There's a song called White Cliffs. I think right now White Cliffs is the best song on here for me. God, it's so good. Again, I was concerned with anything that concerns Thom Yorke. I feel like, and this isn't Yorke's fault, but I feel like Radiohead is such a big thing, and Thom Yorke is such a big thing. An entity, pretty much a corporation at this point. You know, Radiohead's a big name, and Thom Yorke is a big voice, and everyone knows his voice. So I was a little skeptical of this because with Yorke, when he sings on something, he's got such a unique voice, he tends to overpower everything else, but his voice is used very, I don't want to say sparingly, but again, it's used like an instrument here. It's not overbearing. It doesn't overpower anything. This is a Pritchard and Yorke experience. It's very much a collaboration. I don't know that either one overtakes the other. It's a really nice album, man. I was very pleasantly surprised by this. I mean, I was really hoping to love it because I love Pritchard so much. And I can happily report that this is a really excellent album. It's purely electronic. It really is. Again, I hate genres and stuff, but it dabbles with a lot of different styles of electronic. Think of all the different electronic tags you can think of. They're all kind of represented here, but I think at the end of the day, you get a very nice, quiet little soul album, really, to my ears. Great stuff, man. I'm so happy with this. Definitely the best album I've heard this year. Very, very pleased with this. Before I go, I wanted to mention this too, just as like a fun little purchase I made. I also got this from Bleep with this box set. They're selling these little cards. It's a deck of cards. You see Tall Tales. A deck of cards. Yes. Did I need this? No. But if you saw my collection, my record collection, and all the stuff that I bought from Bleep over the years, I have gotten to this point where I'm like, God, what am I not going to pick this up? I mean, every little thing that Warp has put out as it pertains to an album that I want or a band or an artist that I want, I usually pick it up. I've got everything. I've got every promo that Bleep's ever put out. I've got every weird poster. I've got kaleidoscopes. I've got Boards of Canada kaleidoscopes. And now I've got Mark Pritchard and Thom Yorke cards. I have stickers. I have postcards. I have like a whole wing of Warp stuff that are not records. It's pretty crazy. I'll show you the cards here too. I won't show all of them, but here you go. You get a deck of cards. You get your own, is that upside down? I can't even tell. You get a little octopus there. I'll go to the middle of the deck. The Three of Hearts. How about the Ace of Spades? That's what you get with the Ace of Spades. Let's go to the Two of Diamonds, shall we? I'm not going to show all these to you. You want these? You want to experience all of these? Go buy them yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then how about the 10 of diamonds? That's right. You get a full deck of cards with exclusive, goofy, wacky artwork. Here's the back. I think they're all like this. Yeah, they're all like this. And they should be. There's the back. Isn't that nice? These will go with my box set here. Where I'll put these, I don't know. I'll stash them. I'll probably stuff them into my box where I've got my Boards of Canada kaleidoscopes, and I'll never see them again, and I'll lose them, and I'll wonder where they are for years, and I'll die, and someone will stumble upon my stuff and hawk it. All these things that I've spent my entire life carrying around my entire life, I'll just end up dying randomly, and some young hipster fuck will find my shit and make a killing on it. By the way, my plan is on that. I'm gonna stipulate some things in my will, but my plan is to burn my entire collection. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Andy Weatherall also had a very interesting idea. He said he wanted to take his entire record collection and lock it away into all these chests and then dump it into the ocean. But I don't want to litter. And I also don't want to create a huge hole in the ozone layer by burning my record collection. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But I do want to have a ceremonial burning of my record collection, kind of like what the KLF did with the money. They inspired me. My worst nightmare is to carry all this shit around and spend all this time and money storing all of these thousands of little artifacts that I have, and then to die suddenly and some young little bearded hipster fuckwad stumbles upon my shit and then sells it for a killing. That's my worst nightmare. Wow, where'd that come from? Totally got off the beaten path there. Talk about a tall tale. I have plenty of those. But this is a great album, getting back to the subject at hand here. Tall Tales. Great fucking album, man, and really cool packaging. And I'm glad Mark Pritchard's back, man. I love this guy. It's hard to explain my love for Mark Pritchard, you know. And going back to what I started with, it drives me nuts to see these reviews of like, Thom Yorke is back. Shut up. Pritchard's been making music longer than Yorke has, and Pritchard's put out a lot more shit. And Pritchard's catalog of music is far more impressive in my humble opinion. Now, it's just an opinion, and I do love Radiohead, and I do love Thom Yorke, but he's no Mark Pritchard. And I love this collaboration. They've already worked together before, and now they just have a full album. And man, I'm glad of it. Really, really cool stuff. Pritchard fans, Radiohead fans, you will love this record. And maybe even some of you who don't know Pritchard and you kind of like Radiohead, or you might not even like Radiohead that much, I still would recommend this. You should check this out. It's dark, introspective, soulful electronic music. And it's excellent. Tall Tales, Pritchard, Yorke. Go pick it up. I'm getting out of here. Goodbye.